I'll quit after this spin, I told myself. 3 hours later, I owed $20,000. My name is Marcus. I'm a software engineer who used to have answers for everything. Now I refresh banking apps at 3 a.m. and delete the history. 6 months ago, I had savings, a daughter starting college, and a wife who trusted me. It started during lunch breaks. Working from home meant no one watching. I found patterns in the wheel, wrote them down, proved them wrong, wrote new ones. First it was hundreds, then thousands, then transfers from accounts she didn't know I could touch. That Tuesday night, I drove there to win it all back. Just needed one good spin to erase everything. My phone lit up with her calls while chips disappeared across felt. 20,000 in 3 hours. Not lost, owed. To people who don't send polite reminders. Let me take you through that night, from the first bet to the moment I couldn't pretend anymore. When a careful man convinces himself the next spin will save him, what shatters first? The math that always worked, or the family that always waited? March hit Kansas City like it couldn't decide between winter and spring. The casino parking lot still had patches of dirty snow when Marcus Chin sat down at my blackjack table for the first time. Wednesday afternoon, 3:47 p.m. I remember because I'd just come back from my dinner break. Turkey sandwich from the employee cafeteria. Same thing I'd eaten for 6 months straight. Is this seat lucky? Marcus asked, settling into the middle spot. He wore a Kansas University sweatshirt and had the kind of smile that made you want to like him right away. They're all the same. Sir. I shuffled the 8-deck shoe, the cards making that familiar whisper against each other. Through the plexiglass barrier between us, everything felt muffled. COVID protocols. Like the virus might travel through playing cards. He laid $500 bills on the felt. Just found out my daughter got into nursing school. KU, just like her old man. He tapped the logo on his chest. Figured I'd celebrate a little while the wife's at work. I counted out his chips, 20 green quarters. Congratulations on your daughter. Sophia, smartest kid I know. He arranged his chips in neat stacks of 5. Been saving for her tuition since she was born. Feels good to finally see it pay off. First hand, he got 11 against my 6. Doubled down without hesitation. Drew a 10 for 21. The way he placed his additional bet, precise, centered, told me he'd played before. More than casual. You've been dealing long? He collected his winnings, maintaining those perfect stacks. 6 months. I burned a card, dealt the next hand. Started in September. Pandemic job switch? Something like that. He got blackjack. I paid him 3-2. His betting pattern was textbook, increasing after wins, dropping back to minimum after losses. Basic card counting strategy. I recognized it because 3 years ago, I'd sat in his seat doing the same thing, convinced I was smarter than the house. I'm in software, Marcus offered, splitting 8s against my 5. Working from home these days. Zoom meetings all morning. Nice to get out, see actual people. Both 8s drew 10s. He won both hands. His chip stacks grew taller. Jennifer, that's my wife. She thinks I'm in a client meeting right now. He laughed, but something flickered across his face. Don't tell her I snuck out early. A woman at first base hit 22. I collected her chips. The afternoon crowd was thin. 2 other players besides Marcus, masks pulled below their noses between hands. The slot machines dinged in the distance, that endless electronic rain of coins that weren't really coins anymore. Marcus played for an hour. Won $300. When he colored up, he slid a 50 across the felt. For you. Sophia's good news luck spreading around. Thank you, sir. I dropped the tip in my box. Dealers aren't supposed to have opinions about tips, but 50 on a 300 win was generous. Too generous. The kind of tip that came from the high of winning, not from calculated gratitude. I'll bring a picture next time, he said, pocketing his chips. You'll see, she looks just like me, poor kid. Next time. They always said next time. I watched him walk past the roulette tables, pausing to observe the wheel spinning. Just for a second. Then he continued to the cage to cash out. Through the tinted windows, I saw him climb into a silver BMW, probably heading home to tell Jennifer about his client meeting. My relief dealer tapped me out at 6. In the break room, I touched the gambler's anonymous chip in my pocket. 1 year clean next month. The Employee Assistance Program pamphlet was still pinned to the bulletin board, edges curling. I'd memorized the phone number, but never called. Walking to the bus stop, I passed Marcus's BMW still in the parking lot. He was sitting inside, engine running, staring at something on his phone. Maybe Sophia's acceptance letter. Maybe his banking app. I knew which one it was. I'd sat in my Honda, making the same calculations, the same promises. Just one more session. Just until I'm even. Just until I win enough to matter. The bus pulled up, and I left him there in the parking lot. Silver car glowing under the security lights. My alarm went off at noon. Same Nokia ringtone for 6 months. Same water-stained ceiling above my bed. Same view of the Dollar General parking lot through bent blinds. I'd gotten the studio apartment because it was cheap and walking distance to the bus line. Told myself it was temporary, coffee first. Instant, because I'd sold my good coffee maker last year. While the water boiled, I did my morning inventory. Rent envelope, $600, due next week. Bus pass, 12 rides left. Checking account, $847.32. Still positive. Still breathing. The photo on my refrigerator caught morning light through the kitchen window. Rachel's kids at Christmas. My nephew Connor showing off missing teeth. Baby Olivia in a ridiculous reindeer outfit. Rachel had texted it to me in January with just a heart emoji. No words needed. We both knew I'd missed another holiday. I spread my bills across the card table I used for dining. Electric, phone, minimum payment on the credit card I was slowly digging out from under. Everything planned to the penny. In accounting school, they'd called it cash flow management. Now it was just survival. My phone buzzed. Text from mom. Dinner Sunday? Making pot roast. I typed back. Working. Sorry. Easier than explaining I couldn't afford gas for a rental car. Couldn't ask Rachel for another ride. Couldn't sit at their table and pretend the last 3 years hadn't happened. The coffee tasted like burnt water. I drank it anyway, standing at my window watching people come and go from Dollar General. Normal people buying normal things. Laundry detergent. Kids cereal. Not emptying their accounts at 3 a.m. Not sleeping in casino parking lots. Not losing apartments and girlfriends and careers to the soft sound of shuffling cards. My work clothes hung in the narrow closet. 3 white shirts. 2 pairs of black pants. 1 tie. The Prairie Winds logo on the breast pocket still felt strange. Tyler Morrison, table games dealer. The hiring manager, a woman named Diane with tired eyes, had recognized me during the interview. You used to play here, she'd said. Not a question. Used to. Clean now? 6 months. It had been 5 months and 3 weeks, but who was counting? She'd hired me on the spot. Sometimes the best dealers are the ones who've sat on the other side. You know what to watch for. What to watch for. The tremor in someone's hand reaching for their wallet. The way they'd count and recount chips. The promises they'd make to themselves between hands. The moment they'd break those promises. I touched my GA chip before dropping it in my pocket. Smooth from handling, edges worn soft. My sponsor, an old-timer named Frank, had given it to me after a meeting where I'd finally told the whole truth. The accounting job lost after missing too many mornings. Amanda finding me at the casino when I'd said I was at a client dinner. The night I'd counted my remaining cash in my car and realized it was exactly enough for gas or food, not both. You're not unique, Frank had said, not unkindly. Your story's been told 1,000 times in these rooms. That's the good news. Means we know how to help. I pulled on my uniform, knotted the tie. The bathroom mirror showed someone who could pass for professional. Shaved, clean, alert. Nobody would guess I'd once pawned this same mirror along with everything else that wasn't nailed down. The bus schedule was taped next to my door. 1:47 p.m. departure. Arrive at 2:15. Plenty of time for the employee entrance, the punch clock, the pre-shift meeting where they'd remind us about customer service and comp policies. The ordinary rhythm of a job that kept me stable by surrounding me with temptation. I counted out exact bus fare, $2.50. Still didn't trust myself with more cash than necessary. Some habits you keep because they keep you safe. Walking to the bus stop, I passed the same billboards I'd been avoiding for months. Prairie Winds Casino, where winners play. A smiling woman holding a fan of $100 bills. Bad beat jackpot. Now over $500,000. I kept my eyes on the sidewalk, counting cracks in the concrete. The bus smelled like diesel and disinfectant. I found a seat near the back, watched the city roll by. Pawn shops, payday lenders, liquor stores. The whole ecosystem that feeds on desperate hope. We passed the community center where my GA meeting met on Thursdays. I'd be there tonight after my shift, listening to stories that could have been mine, telling pieces of my own. The casino appeared on the horizon like a neon oasis. Even in daylight, the signs blazed. Promise after promise in LED brilliance. Getting off the bus, I saw a familiar silver BMW in the parking lot. Second row, same spot as last week. Marcus was early for the swing shift. My stomach tightened. Wednesday afternoon again. Another Zoom meeting. Another lie to Jennifer. I walked through the employee entrance, touching my GA chip one more time. By the end of March, Marcus had his own rhythm. Tuesdays and Thursdays at first. Then Wednesdays too. Always my table when I was working, always that middle seat. He'd wait up to 20 minutes if it was occupied, playing slots nearby, checking over his shoulder. My lucky dealer, he'd say, settling in. The joke wore thin after the third week. This particular Wednesday, I had a full table. Mrs. Patterson at first base. Retired teacher who brought exactly $200 and colored up the moment she hit 300 or lost it all. Big Jim at third base. Construction foreman who only played on paydays and tipped with crumpled fives pulled from his shirt pocket. Devin next to Marcus. Young guy who wouldn't shut up about cryptocurrency and NFTs. You don't get it, Devin was saying, splitting tens against my six like an amateur. Blockchain is gonna revolutionize gaming. Imagine owning your cards as digital assets. I just want to own actual money, Big Jim muttered, standing on 17. Marcus stayed quiet, focused on his count. I could see him tracking the high cards, adjusting his bets accordingly. 2 hands ago, he'd been betting the table minimum, $25. Now, with the count in his favor, he had 200 out. 20 against my 7. He stood. Smart played out. I flipped my whole card. 10. Drew a 5. 25. Bust. Paid the table. See, Devin collected his chips from his split tens. Sometimes you gotta think outside the box. Sometimes you gotta know when you're lucky versus good. Mrs. Patterson said, coloring up her chips. That's me for today, Tyler. Same time next week. Her spot filled immediately. A young woman in scrubs who looked exhausted. Hospital worker grabbing some excitement between shifts. She bought in for $50 and played it scared, hitting on 15, standing on soft 17. Gone in 10 minutes. Marcus never acknowledged the other players. His world narrowed to the cards, the count, the next bet. When the shoe ran hot, his pupils dilated slightly. When it went cold, he'd grip his chips tighter, knuckles white against green felt. Sophia picked her dorm room yesterday, he mentioned during a shuffle. Freshman year, I lived in Oliver Hall. Dump, but the best year of my life. She excited. I asked, though I knew the answer he'd give. Over the moon. Already planning how to decorate. He arranged his chips, 4 stacks now, up about 600. Jennifer's worried about her being on her own. I keep saying she'll be fine. Kid's got a good head on her shoulders. The next shoe started badly for him. 3 straight losses, then a double down that failed. His neat stacks became uneven as he pressed his bets, trying to get even. Classic gambler's fallacy. The cards don't know you're losing, don't owe you a correction. Table's cold, Devin announced, gathering his remaining chips. Gonna try roulette. That's where the real action is. Marcus's head turned slightly, tracking Devin to the roulette pit. Just a glance, but I saw by 7 p.m. Marcus was down to his last 200. The count was good. Lots of tens and aces left in the shoe, but variance is variance. Good counts guarantee nothing short-term. He pushed it all out on the next hand. $800 now, chasing the 6 he'd lost. Dealt him 11. My up card, 6. The textbook double-down situation. I need to hit the ATM, he said quietly. Take your time. I protected his cards with a marker. He walked past the roulette tables again. Stopped this time, watching the wheel spin. The ball danced around the numbers, that silver blur of possibility. When it settled on red 23, he took out his phone, typed something quickly. Making a note? Checking his balance? He came back with 1,000 in cash. All hundreds. The bill counter at the table confirmed what I already knew. He was chasing hard now. Actually, he said, pulling back the money. Let me think about it. No problem. I returned his marker. Moved to the next player. He sat there for 3 more hands. Not playing, just watching. Calculating. When he finally bought in, it was just for 500. The other 5 went back in his wallet. Still some control left, but fraying. Drew a 10 on his 11. 21. Finally. There we go, Big Jim said. About time you caught a break. Marcus smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. He was doing math in his head. 21 paid, even money on his 400, plus the 4 he'd had out initially. 800 return on an 800 bet. Even. All that risk just to get back to zero. I should go, he said after the hand. Jennifer's making salmon tonight. But he didn't go. Played another shoe, then another. The dinner hour came and went. His phone buzzed on the table. He turned it face down without looking. When my relief finally tapped me out at 10 p.m., Marcus was still there. Down to 300 again, hands steady but something desperate in his eyes. He'd show me the photo of Sophia like he promised. Pretty girl with his same serious eyes, acceptance letter in her hands. See you next week, he asked as I organized my rack. I'll be here. In the break room, Vanessa was heating up leftover pasta. Your boy was asking me about roulette earlier, she said. Wanted to know about will bias, if some numbers hit more than others. What did you tell him? The truth. That it's all random. House edge is house edge. She stabbed at her pasta. But he had a notebook out, writing down every spin. You know how that goes. I didn't know. Still had my own notebook somewhere, full of meaningless patterns that had felt like discovery. Maybe talk to him, Vanessa suggested. Can't. You know that. Yeah. She looked tired. Just hate watching it happen. Walking out, I passed the roulette pit. Marcus was at the $100 minimum table, notebook open, pen in hand. The wheel spun. The ball danced. The notebook filled with numbers that would never add up to what he needed them to be. I touched my GA chip and headed for the bus stop. Tonight's meeting topic was acceptance. Perfect timing. I had 40 minutes on the bus to figure out what I could accept and what I couldn't. The silver BMW was still in the parking lot when my bus pulled away. Still running, brake lights glowing in the dark like eyes that couldn't close. Derek flipped burgers on the gas grill while smoke drifted across Rachel's backyard. Perfect Saturday afternoon in Overland Park. Kids shrieking on the trampoline, neighbors chatting over the fence. I sat at the picnic table, wrapping Connor's gift in Spider-Man paper I'd bought at Dollar General. Uncle Tyler. Connor crashed into me, sweaty from playing. Mom said you took the bus. Why don't you have a car? Cars are expensive, buddy. But you have a job now, right? Rachel appeared with lemonade. Connor, go wash your hands. Pizza's almost here. She waited until he ran off. Sorry about that. It's fine. She sat across from me, studying my face the way she had since I'd shown up broke 3 years ago. You look good. Healthy. Thanks. I am. Mom wants to know why you keep missing Sunday dinners. Work. The lie came easy. Casino's busier on weekends. Tyler. That big sister tone. We're not going to judge you. We just want. I know what you want. I focused on taping the present. $20 Lego set. Exactly what I could afford. I'm doing okay. Really. Derek called her over to help with something. She squeezed my shoulder as she passed. We're here when you're ready. The party filled with 8-year-olds high on sugar and sunshine. I helped serve cake, cleaned up spilled juice, pushed kids on the swing set. Normal uncle things. Nobody mentioned the 2 years I'd missed, the birthdays that passed without me. Remember when you used to do magic tricks? Connor asked, chocolate frosting on his chin. With cards. I don't do cards anymore. Why not? Because cards took everything. Because I'd practiced sleight of hand to hide my counting at casinos. Because I couldn't touch a deck without my hands wanting to shuffle, deal, bet. Just got tired of them. I said that Rachel's friend asked what I did for work. When I said dealer at Prairie Winds, the conversation stuttered. Oh, that must be interesting. It pays the bills. She excused herself to check on her daughter. I saw Rachel notice, saw her jaw tighten. This was why I stayed away. Not shame, disappointment. I was the reminder that anyone could fall that far. When parents started collecting their kids, I helped clean up. Found Derek in the garage, loading the recycling bin. How you really doing? He asked. Rachel worries. 11 months clean. That's good, man. Really good. He broke down cardboard boxes. My brother had a thing with pills. Took him 3 tries to get straight. Yeah. He's an electrician now. Married, 2 kids. Derek looked at me straight. I'm saying it gets better. In the kitchen, Rachel counted leftover pizza slices. Take some home. Please. I'm good. Tyler, don't be proud. It's just pizza. I took 2 slices wrapped in foil. She walked me to the door, kids trailing behind. Uncle Tyler, when will you visit again? Olivia asked, tiny hand in mine. Soon, sweetheart. Promise. I looked at Rachel. She was holding her breath. I'll try. The bus stop was 6 blocks away. I walked past perfect lawns, 2-car garages, the life I'd had mapped out before the cards got in the way. My phone buzzed. Vanessa, your boy Marcus just dropped 5K on a single spin. I stopped walking. 5,000. One spin. The notebook hadn't helped. The patterns were eating him. At the bus stop, I deleted 3 gambling app notifications. Sign-up bonuses, free plays, limited time offers. The algorithm still thought I was a player. 3 years clean, and it still called my name. The bus came late. I held the pizza in my lap, still warm through the foil. Normal food from a normal party at a normal house. Everything I gambled away for the chance to beat math itself. Through the window, I watched the suburbs fade into strip malls, then the industrial district, then the neon explosion of the casino corridor. My phone buzzed again. Rachel, thanks for coming. The kids love you. I typed back. Love them too. The pizza would last 2 days if I was careful. The memory of Connor's laugh, Olivia's tiny hand, those might last until I was brave enough to go back that I wasn't supposed to be there. Walked in claiming I'd left my water bottle in the break room, but really Vanessa's text had pulled me like a magnet. 5,000 on one spin. I had to see it. Had to watch someone else make my mistakes in real time. The high-limit roulette section hummed with different energy than the main floor. Quieter. More desperate. I found Marcus at the corner table, notebook spread open. Pages covered in numbers and symbols only he understood. Reds hit 6 times in the last 15, he muttered to another player who wasn't listening. But look, 17, 23, 17 again. The wheels favoring that sector. His chip stacks told the story. 3,000 in front of him, up from wherever he'd started. But his hands shook slightly as he arranged the next bet. That wasn't the shake of excitement. That was adrenaline burning through reason. 17 straight up, he announced. 500 on a single number. 35 to 1 payout if it hit. The dealer, Dimitri from Day Shift, spun the wheel. That familiar whir, the ball's silver dance. Marcus leaned forward, notebook forgotten. His lips moved. Praying or calculating, maybe both. The ball bounced. Settled. Red 32. No bet, Dimitri announced, sweeping the felt clean. Marcus didn't flinch. Just made another note. 32. That's the 3rd time tonight. He placed the same bet. 500 on 17. I knew this phase. The notebook phase. When you convince yourself you're a scientist, not a gambler. When every loss is data for the system that's about to crack wide open. I'd filled 3 notebooks before admitting the pattern was just randomness wearing a disguise. Sir, pit boss Shannon appeared beside me. You working tonight? Just forgot something. Heading out now. She looked at me the way you look at someone teetering on a ledge. Good. Have a nice night off. But I couldn't leave yet. Watched Marcus lose the 17 bet again. Watched him double it. 1,000 now on a single number. The ball landed on black too. Marcus wrote it down like it meant something. 17's due, he told Dimitri. Hasn't hit in 43 spins. What are the odds? Same as always, Dimitri said quietly. 1 in 37. No, but consecutively. 43 misses. That's statistical variance demanding correction. I'd said those exact words. Different numbers, same delusion. The math was clean. Every spin was independent. But when you're down and desperate, independence feels like a lie the casino tells. Another player joined the table, an older woman dripping in jewelry. She watched Marcus's system with amusement. Honey, I've been playing roulette since before you were born. The only pattern is there's no pattern. Respectfully, Marcus said, placing another 1,000 on 17. I'm a software engineer. I understand probability. She shrugged, placing her own bets across the board. Conservative spreads, hedging everything. The ball spun, landed on 17. The table erupted. Marcus had hit. 35,000 payout on his $1,000 bet. He sat perfectly still as Dimitri counted out chips. Towers of purple and yellow, more money than most people saw in months. See, his voice cracked. Patterns. But instead of cashing out, instead of walking away up 32,000, he started dividing the chips. Calculating. The notebook came back out. The wheel's hot now, he muttered. Sector bias confirmed. The woman caught my eye and shook her head. We both knew what came next. Marcus spread 5,000 across the 17 sector. Another 5 on 17 straight up. 10,000 in play on a single spin. A third of his win already back on the felt. Security to high limit. Shannon's voice crackled over someone's radio. She'd noticed me lingering. Time to go. I passed through the main floor, past my empty blackjack table, past the slots singing their electronic promises. In the parking lot, that silver BMW waited in its usual spot. Inside, I glimpsed a photo tucked into the visor. Sophia in a cap and gown. Her future parked outside while her father spun it away inside. The bus wouldn't come for 20 minutes. I sat on the bench, pulled out my phone. The GA meeting had started without me. Frank would notice my empty chair, make a note to call later. Through the casino's glass doors, I could see the roulette pit from a distance. A crowd had gathered. Word spreads when someone's betting big, when the wheel's deciding thousands per spin. Everyone wants to see the crash or the miracle. My own notebooks were in a box under my bed. Kept them as reminder. Pages of beautiful, meaningless patterns. Will bias, dealer signatures, hot numbers, cold streaks. All the ways I tried to outsmart Chance. All the ways Chance had outsmarted me. A text from Rachel. Kids asleep. Thanks again for coming today. I put the phone away. Touched my GA chip. The bus finally came, doors hissing open to swallow me back into the real world. As we pulled away, I saw someone running into the parking lot. Marcus, probably. Chasing his BMW to the ATM for more ammunition. The patterns always made sense until they didn't. Until you were sitting in your car at dawn, trying to explain to yourself how the math had betrayed you again. How you'd been so sure, so careful, so smart, but the wheel just spins. The ball just bounces. And the house edge grinds away at everyone equally. Notebook or no notebook. Daryl gathered us in the break room before shift. Corporate's rolling out new responsible gaming protocols. He held up a training packet thick as a phone book. Everyone needs to complete this by month end. Great, Tommy from Craps muttered. More paperwork. It's important, Daryl continued. We're the front line. We see the problems developing. Vanessa caught my eye. We both looked away. Everyone knew, but nobody said. Half the dealers had their own histories. That's how they'd ended up here. The training video opened with soft piano music. Actors playing concerned dealers, supportive managers, grateful problem gamblers getting help. Nothing like reality. In reality, we watched them sink and kept dealing. Warning signs include, the narrator's voice soothed, chasing losses, lying about gambling activities, borrowing money, emotional volatility. I made check marks on my worksheet. Marcus hit every box. So had I, 3 years ago. So did a dozen regulars on any given night. Remember, the video continued. Our goal is responsible gaming, not prohibition. We want guests to enjoy themselves within healthy limits. Healthy limits. I thought about Marcus's notebook, his $35,000 win already fed back to the wheel. About Mrs. Patterson's rigid $200 rule. About Big Jim who only played paydays but stayed until the money ran out. Where exactly was the healthy line? The worksheet asked, what would you do if a guest seemed distressed about losses? Multiple choice. A. Offer them a complimentary beverage. B. Suggest they take a break. C. Notify management. D. Continue dealing unless they become disruptive. The answer was always D. Always had been. The video just dressed it up prettier. Employees who identify potential problem gambling should report it through proper channels. Daryl read from his notes. Management will assess and take appropriate action. Tommy laughed. Right? Like when that lady last month cried for an hour at my table. Management comped her breakfast and got her back playing. That's enough. Daryl warned that we watched testimonials from recovered gamblers. All the same story, lost everything, hit bottom, found help. Clean now, grateful for interventions that came too late. The casino's logo appeared after each segment, positioning itself as part of the solution. My worksheet asked, how can you promote responsible gaming while maintaining excellent customer service? I wrote, you can't. Erased it. Wrote, encourage breaks and set limits. The answer they wanted. The quiz came next. I knew every answer. Textbook problem gambling behaviors, intervention strategies, resources for help. Perfect score. The computer printed a certificate. Tyler Morrison has completed responsible gaming level 1 training. Good job, everyone, Daryl said. Remember, we care about our guests' well-being. Walking onto the floor, I passed the cashier's cage. Marcus was there, back turned, sliding his license under the window. Cash advance on a credit card, probably. The same window where I'd maxed out 3 cards in one night, He walked past without seeing me, heading back to roulette. His notebook tucked under one arm. Jennifer thought he was in client meetings. Sophia thought her tuition was safe. The wheel thought nothing at all. My table filled quickly. Regulars mostly. I dealt on autopilot, watching Marcus from across the pit. He'd found a new system apparently, betting birthdays, anniversaries, meaningful numbers. The ball didn't know meaning from randomness. Tyler. Daryl appeared at my shoulder. Good score on the training. Thanks. You've got good instincts. Kept your eyes open. He lowered his voice. That regular at roulette. Chin. He's been playing pretty heavy. I noticed. Well, keep noticing. But unless he gets disruptive. He shrugged. You know how it is. I did know. Marcus was quiet, polite, tipping appropriately. The perfect problem gambler. He'd destroy himself silently, without inconveniencing anyone. The new protocols had nothing to say about that. During my break, I found the resource pamphlet in my locker. The one from my hiring packet, never opened. Phone numbers for GA, credit counseling, mental health services. I thought about leaving it somewhere Marcus would find it, but that would violate a dozen policies. We were trained to deal cards, not save lives. The shift dragged. Every time I looked up, Marcus was still there. Win a little, lose more. Write it down. Adjust the system. The same loop I'd run 1,000 times. Near midnight, something changed. A woman appeared at the roulette table. Professional dressed, tired looking. Jennifer. She stood behind Marcus, watching him play. He didn't turn around, but his shoulders tensed. They left together 5 minutes later. No scene, no confrontation. Just a married couple walking out like any other Saturday night. Except Marcus left his notebook behind. Dimitri tossed it in the trash during his next sweep. All those patterns, all that data. Just garbage now. Rough night. Vanessa asked during shift change. The usual. His wife seemed nice. Pretty. Yeah. She paused. You okay? I know it's hard. Watching, I'm fine. I touched my GA chip. Still there. Still smooth. Still mine. Just tired. Walking out, I passed the trash where Marcus's notebook lay buried. Wanted to dig it out, show him page by page how the patterns meant nothing. But I knew better. You can't logic someone out of something they didn't logic into. The bus came. I left the notebook in the garbage. Left Marcus to his patterns. Left the casino to its business of responsible gaming, one destroyed life at a time. Tuesday night, last week of April. The casino hummed with month-end energy, people chasing losses before bills came due. I dealt blackjack to a full table, but my attention kept drifting to the high-limit pit. Marcus had been there 3 hours. Jennifer nowhere in sight. Hit or stay? I asked the player at first base for the second time. Stay? Jesus, pay attention. I flipped my cards. 20. Swept the table except for 2 pushes. Automatic motions while I watched Marcus lean over the roulette felt like he was trying to climb inside the wheel itself. My relief tapped out. You good? Yeah. Just tired. But I wasn't tired. I was watching someone drown in slow motion. During my break, I walked past high limit. Couldn't help myself. Marcus had 8,000 in chips stacked in front of him. Down from something bigger, based on the sweat staining his collar. System's working, he told another player. Just need to hit once more. One good spin to get back to even. Get back to even. The gambler's prayer. Not to win anymore, just to undo the damage. I prayed it plenty, usually around 3 a.m. when the ATM started declining cards. Dimitri spun the wheel. Marcus had 2,000 spread across a dozen numbers, another 1,000 straight up on 17. His lucky number. Sophia's birthday, the ball danced. Landed on 0. No bet, Dimitri announced. Marcus stared at the green 0 like it had personally betrayed him. Then, quietly, he pushed his remaining 5,000 forward. Black. Even money bet. The safest play in roulette, if anything involving a spinning wheel could be called safe. Red or black. 50-50, minus the house edge, the wheel spun. Other players placed their bets. The old woman from before put 100 on red, hedging against him. Black 31. Marcus exhaled like he'd been holding his breath for hours. Maybe he had. 10,000 in chips slid across to him. Even. Finally even. Cash me out, he said quickly. All of it. But his phone rang before Dimitri could move. Marcus looked at the screen. His face changed. Hey, sweetheart, he answered. No, just finishing up some work. Sophia's voice leaked through, excited about something. Marcus listened, smiling the way parents do when their kids are happy. His free hand rested on his chips. $10,000 he'd fought all night to get back. That's wonderful, he said. Yes, Mom and I will definitely come to the ceremony. He hung up, looked at his chips. I knew that look. The mental math, 10,000 was good, but 20 would be better. 30 would cover the losses from last week. 40 would put him ahead. Actually, he told Dmitri, let me play one more. One more. The two most dangerous words in the English language. He put 5,000 on red. Half his stack. One spin to either double up or go back to chasing. The wheel spun. I couldn't watch anymore. Headed back to my table for the last push of the night. There he is. Big Jim greeted me. Thought you'd abandoned us. I dealt the cards. Steady hands, steady breathing. The discipline I'd learned the hard way. Don't think about the wheel. Don't think about Marcus. Don't think about anything but the cards in front of you. But I could feel it across the room. That electric moment when thousands ride on where a ball lands. The held breath of the whole casino. Then the collective exhale, either relief or despair. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Against rules to check during a hand, but I knew. Vanessa, he lost it. All of it. Of course he did. The wheel doesn't care about getting even. Doesn't know you need this win. It just spins. You okay? Mrs. Patterson asked. She'd returned for late-night sessions, still disciplined with her limits. You look pale. Long shift. Almost over. Then you can go home. Forget this place exists. But that was the thing. You never forgot. Even away from the tables, you carried it with you. The weight of everyone's losses, including your own. Especially your OWN.AT2AM. I cashed out my tips. $43. A slow night. In the parking lot, Marcus's BMW was still there. Engine off now. He sat in the driver's seat, visible in the dome light. Phone pressed to his ear. I knew that conversation. The lies coming harder now. The promises that tomorrow would be different. The explanations that didn't explain anything. Jennifer on the other end, knowing something was wrong, but not how wrong. Not yet. The bus had stopped running. I'd have to wait for the 3:15 a.m. route. I sat on the bench, far enough from the BMW to give him privacy for his unraveling. My phone rang. Frank from GA. Missed you at the meeting, he said. Sorry. Work ran late. You sure that's all? I watched Marcus finally start his car. The reverse lights came on, then went off. Engine still running, but going nowhere. It's hard, I admitted. Watching it happen to other people. That's why we avoid casinos. Even working there, I know. But this job, it's all I've got right now. Frank sighed. You coming Thursday? Yeah. I'll be there. Good. We'll talk about it. Remember, you can't save them all. Can't save any of them, really. Only yourself. Marcus's car finally moved. Backed out slowly, like he was leaving part of himself in that parking space. Taillights disappeared into the dark. One good spin. That's all any of us ever needed. The spin that would fix everything, justify everything, prove we'd been right all along. But the wheel just spins. The ball just bounces. And the house edge grinds on, patient as gravity. The 3:15 bus arrived empty. I rode home alone, $43 in my pocket, watching the dark city slide by. Somewhere out there, Marcus was driving home to explain the unexplainable. Somewhere, Jennifer was waiting up, pretending to believe whatever story he'd tell. And somewhere, that roulette wheel kept spinning, ready for the next person who just needed one good spin to get even. The confrontation came on a Wednesday. I was rotating through mini baccarat, the elegant cousin of the games that had ruined me. Simple rules, terrible odds, perfect for people who wanted to lose money with style. Jennifer Chin walked in at 8 p.m. sharp. I recognized her from that night at roulette. But this time she came alone. Purposeful. She wore the kind of outfit you put on when you need courage. Pressed blazer. Good jewelry. The armor of someone about to have a difficult conversation. She found Marcus at his usual roulette table. He didn't see her coming, too focused on his new system. He'd given up on wheel bias, moved on to something involving the dealer's release point. As if the human hand could control chaos. Marcus. Her voice carried across the pit. He turned. His face did that thing guilty faces do. Surprise, fear, then forced casual happiness. Jen, what are you doing here? Sophia thinks you're at a client dinner. I was. It ended early. In Olathe? Because that's where you said it was. This is nowhere near Olathe. Other players looked away. Dmitri kept the wheel spinning, professional enough not to pause. But everyone listened. Domestic drama was better than any jackpot for entertainment. Marcus collected his chips quickly. Maybe 3,000, down from whatever he'd brought. Let's talk outside. No, I want to see it. This place you spend 40 hours a week. It's not 40. I checked the credit card statements. She pulled papers from her purse. And the bank. And the 401k. The papers shook in her hands. Not anger. Something worse. The shake of someone realizing their life had been built on quicksand. Jen, I can explain. $57,000, Marcus. 57,000 in 4 months. The number hung in the air. Real now, spoken aloud. Not chips or markers or systems. Dollars. Family dollars. Future dollars. I won most of it back, he said quietly. I'm only down maybe 20. Only. Her voice cracked. That's Sophia's tuition. That's our emergency fund. She stopped, noticing everyone staring. We're leaving. But Marcus didn't move. 10 more minutes. I can win it back. I'm so close to figuring out. Figuring out what? How to destroy us faster. I wanted to look away but couldn't. Like watching a car accident. You hate yourself for staring, but your eyes won't close. Sir, Shannon the pit boss approached. Maybe it's best if we're going, Jennifer said. Now. Marcus looked at his chips, then at his wife. For a second, I thought he'd choose the chips. The addiction whispered loudest when someone tried to take it away. But something in Jennifer's face, not anger anymore, just exhaustion, made him cash out. They walked past my table. Jennifer's eyes met mine. She knew I'd been watching. Everyone had been watching. The humiliation added to everything else she was carrying. I dealt the next baccarat hand. Player 1. Banker 1. Player 1. The patterns that weren't patterns, just probability wearing different masks. Rough scene, my player said. An older man who'd been coming here longer than I'd been alive. See it all the time. The wives always find out eventually. Yeah. Saw one lady set her husband's chips on fire once. Right at the table. Security had to use an extinguisher. He laughed. I managed to smile. But I was thinking about Amanda, my ex. The night she'd found me here when I'd said I was at a client's office. No confrontation, no scene. She just stood in the doorway watching me lose money we didn't have, then turned and left. The text came an hour later. Your stuff will be in boxes on the porch. My shift crawled. Every spin of every will sounded like accusation. Every chip clicking reminded me of the sound money made when it disappeared. I kept thinking about that number. 57,000. More than I'd lost in my worst year. But I'd had less to lose. During break, I sat in the parking lot. Their cars were both gone. The BMW and a blue Honda that must have been Jennifer's. Inside, the roulette wheel kept spinning. Other players had already taken Marcus's seat. Vanessa found me there. You okay? Just needed air. She lit a cigarette. I hate the confrontations. Had a guy's mother show up last month. 80 years old, begging her 50-year-old son to come home. What happened? He kept playing. She left crying. He hit a $1,000 jackpot an hour later. Acted like it proved she was wrong. We stood in silence, watching people come and go. The winners strutted. The losers slouched. The Marcus types walked fast, phones out, already crafting the next lie. You ever think about quitting? Vanessa asked. This job, every day. But, need the money. Need the reminder. I touched my GA chip. Need to see what I'm not anymore. She dropped her cigarette, crushed it carefully. That's fucked up, Tyler. Yeah. Back inside, I found Dimitri cleaning his will between spins. The husband and wife, I said. They okay? He shrugged. Who's ever okay here? Fair point. We sold the opposite of okay. We sold the dream of okay, the chance of okay, the desperate hope that the next spin would make everything okay. But okay itself? That walked out the door with Jennifer Chun, leaving papers that showed exactly how much okay could cost why last table of the night was blackjack. Comfortable territory. I dealt to strangers, tourists mostly, people who could afford to lose what they'd brought. One woman was celebrating her birthday, friends cheering every win. Normal gambling. Social gambling. The kind that didn't end with wives discovering empty bank accounts at 3 a.m. I counted my tips. $60. Good night. Blood money, Frank would call it. Profiting from others' misery. But rent was due Friday. The moral math got fuzzy when you needed to eat. Walking out, I passed the spot where Marcus usually parked. Empty now? I wondered if he was home, trying to salvage things. Or if Jennifer had locked him out. Or if he'd driven to another casino. chasing the 57,000 at a different wheel. The bus came. I rode home doing my own math. 11 months clean. $60 in tips. 847 in checking. Rent covered. Utilities tight. Groceries a question mark. But I wasn't betting. Wasn't borrowing. Wasn't lying to anyone about where I'd been. That was the thing about working the other side of the table. You saw the wreckage up close. Every shift was a reminder. Every confrontation was a ghost of your own past. Every desperate player was who you used to be, who you could be again if you forgot for even a minute what those chips really cost. Thursday's GA meeting hit different. I sat in my usual spot, back row, near the door, but couldn't focus. Frank was leading, talking about acceptance, but my mind stayed at the casino. Marcus hadn't shown up for 3 days. His usual roulette seat stayed empty, like a missing tooth. Tyler. Frank's voice pulled me back. Want to share? Pass. But he kept looking. That sponsor look. The one that said we'd talk after. A new guy shared instead. Lost his plumbing business to sports betting. Familiar story, different game. We all nodded, murmured support. The circle of people who'd found their bottom and decided to stop digging. After the meeting, Frank cornered me by the coffee pot. You've been distracted lately. Work stuff. The casino's getting to you. Not a question. Frank had been sober 12 years. He could read the signs like scripture. There's this regular. I started, then stopped. I can't save him. No, you can't. But watching it happen is exactly why most recovering gamblers don't work in casinos. He refilled his coffee, gave me time to argue. I didn't. You thinking about using? No. That was true. The urge had shifted from need to nausea. Just feeling responsible. Like I should do something. Frank laughed, not unkindly. Tyler, you can barely save yourself. That's a full-time job. This regular, he's got his own path. His own bottom to find. His wife found out. 57,000 gone. Frank stirred sugar into his coffee. The discovery phase. Brutal. She confronted him at the table. In front of everyone. Good for her. Sometimes shame's the only thing that cuts through. He studied me. You're seeing yourself, aren't you? Your own mess. I nodded. Amanda's face that night. The empty apartment after. The months in my car, pride stopping me from calling family until I'd hit negative numbers in every account. Here's the thing, Frank said. You're not him. You're not responsible for him. You're responsible for today, this day, staying clean this day. The meeting room emptied around us. Folding chairs, bad lighting, the smell of burnt coffee and hope. My second home. I keep his tips, I admitted. Money he's losing, I'm taking home. Everyone in that casino is taking his money. At least you're aware of it. At least it bothers you. Frank grabbed his jacket. That's growth, actually. Year ago, you wouldn't have cared. Outside, the spring evening felt soft. People walked dogs, pushed strollers, lived normal lives. Frank's truck sat under a streetlight, construction equipment in the back. You could get another job, he suggested. I know guys hiring. Construction pays good. I need to punish yourself? To stay close to the fire? He shook his head. That's not recovery, Tyler. That's just a different kind of using. He drove off, leaving me with the truth. I walked to the bus stop, thinking about Marcus's empty chair. His notebook in the trash. Jennifer's shaking hands holding bank statements. My phone buzzed. Rachel, Mom wants to know about Easter Sunday. Easter. Another holiday I'd miss. Another excuse about work. Another reminder that clean didn't mean healed. At home. I did my usual inventory. April almost over, May rent looming. I'd saved $200, a miracle by my standards. Enough for breathing room. Not enough for a different life. I pulled out my old notebooks from under the bed. 3 of them, covers worn soft. Inside, my own systems. Card counting charts, betting progressions, win/loss records that showed the steady slide from clever to desperate. The handwriting got worse as the months passed. The final entries were barely readable, written in casino bathrooms between ATM runs. Page after page of beautiful delusion. I'd been so sure, so smart. Just like Marcus with his will bias. Just like every gambler who thought they'd found the angle everyone else missed. My phone rang. Unknown number. Tyler, this is Jennifer Chun. My stomach dropped. Hi. I got your number from the casino directory. I hope that's okay. Sure. It wasn't. This broke every boundary. But her voice sounded hollow, desperate. I wanted to apologize. For the scene the other night. You were just doing your job. No apology needed. Silence. Then, he's gone back. Different casino. Thinks I don't know. I closed my eyes. Of course he had. The wheel was stronger than shame. Can I ask you something? Her voice broke slightly. You see people like him all the time. Do any of them stop? Ever? The question sat heavy between us. I thought of the faces at GA. The ones who made it. The ones who disappeared. Some do. I said carefully. When they're ready. When the pain gets bigger than the need. We have a daughter. Starting college. She laughed bitterly. Had money saved. He knew exactly where the line was and crossed it anyway. I wanted to tell her about my own line crossing. About the engagement ring I'd pawned. The retirement account I'd drained. The sister who'd wired me gas money at 4 a.m. But this wasn't my confession. I'm leaving him, she said. Already saw a lawyer. Just wanted someone to know who'd understand. I'm sorry. Are you? Or is this just part of the business? Fair question. We hung up without answering it. The casino created the mess, employed me to deal it, then sent everyone home to face consequences alone. Perfect system. I sat with my notebooks until dawn, reading my own destruction in faded ink. The same promises Marcus was making now. The same lies, same desperation, same certainty that the next bet would fix everything. But nothing fixed everything. You just learned to live with the broken pieces. 2 months later, July hot as a dealer's vest. I stopped at the Gas and Go near the casino. Night shift had left me empty, out of gas, out of coffee, out of the energy to pretend watching people lose was just a job. The clerk rang up my coffee and beef jerky. Breakfast of champions who'd given up on being champions. That's when I saw him at the scratch-off display. Marcus. Thinner by 20 pounds, wearing a wrinkled polo that used to fit. He clutched a fistful of dollar bills like they were keeping him upright. 5 of the lucky sevens, he told the clerk. No, wait. 3 lucky sevens, 2 of the gold rush. Our eyes met in the security mirror. That recognition between people who'd rather be strangers. He looked away first, scratching furiously at his tickets right there at the counter. Excuse me, someone said behind him. There's a line. Marcus scooped up his tickets, silver dust already under his fingernails. I paid for my items, followed him outside. He stood by a beat-up Toyota, scratching tickets on the hood. The BMW was long gone apparently. Tyler. He didn't look up from his scratching. Figured I'd run into you eventually. How you been? Great. Fantastic. He finished one ticket. Loser. Crumpled it. Started the next. Got banned from Prairie Winds. Did you know that? After I tried to mark her 10 grand I didn't have. I heard. Went to Harris for a while. Then the boats in Missouri. Another loser. Another crumple. Turns out they all talk to each other. Share lists. A winner. $5. His hands shook as he scraped away the rest. See? System's working. Just need to find the pattern in the batches. There it was. Still chasing patterns in chaos. Still believing in the system that had taken everything. Jennifer filed for divorce. He continued, starting another ticket. Took Sophia to her sister's in Colorado. I get supervised visits once a month. Supervised. Like I'm dangerous. I'm sorry. Are you? He looked at me directly for the first time. Red-rimmed eyes, 3-day stubble. You watched it happen. All of you did. Dealt the cards, spun the wheel, counted my money. Nobody ever said stop. Would you have listened? He laughed. Bitter sound. No, probably not. Another loser. He'd burned through $50 in 5 minutes. Same money that would have bought a tank of gas, a meal, a phone call to his daughter. I had a system, he said quietly. It was perfect. Mathematical. Just needed more data, more spins. Jennifer didn't understand. Nobody understood. I understood. I'd had the same conversation with myself 1,000 times. In casino bathrooms, in my car, in the GA rooms where I finally learned that understanding the delusion didn't make it true. I should go, I said. Wait. He pulled out his phone, showed me a photo. Sophia in cap and gown at some ceremony. She graduated. Valedictorian. Full ride to KU. His voice broke. At least I didn't fuck that up. Scholarship came through before I could steal it. The gas station lights hummed. Other customers came and went. Normal people buying normal things. Not scratching away their last $20. Not showing photos to prove they'd once been normal too. You ever think about getting help? I asked. There are programs. I went. Once. Room full of losers talking about their feelings. He started scratching again. I'm not like them. I just need to catch a break. One good hit to get back on my feet. One good hit. The eternal prayer. I'd prayed it right up until I'd prayed for something else. The strength to stop praying for hits at all. Take care. Marcus. Yeah, you too. He was already buying more tickets as I drove away. 3 weeks later. Vanessa mentioned she'd heard Marcus had declared bankruptcy. Lost the house, the car, everything. Living in a studio apartment, working at a call center. Still buying scratchers with every paycheck. Sad, she said during break. Guy had everything. Yeah, you think he'll ever quit? I thought about the GA meeting that night. The new faces, the old faces, the empty chairs of people who'd gone back out. The ones who made it, the ones still fighting, the ones who'd given up fighting and given in. Maybe, when he's ready. When's that? When losing hurts more than quitting. She lit a cigarette. That's dark, Tyler. That's gambling. My shift ended at 2 a.m. In the parking lot, I touched my GA chip, 18 months now. Clean enough to feel dirty about the job, not clean enough to leave it. The money was steady. The reminder was constant. The penance was perfect. Driving past the gas and go, I saw someone at the scratch-off machine. Could have been Marcus. Could have been anyone. In the end, we all looked the same, bent over silver dust, whispering to tickets like they could whisper back. I kept driving. Home to my studio, my instant coffee, my view of nothing special. But my car was mine. My bed was mine. My choices, finally, were mine. That was the difference between Marcus and me. Not luck, not willpower, not some magic moment of clarity, just time. Enough time at the bottom to finally want something else. Enough time away to see the pattern was always the same. We thought we were playing the game, but the game was playing us. And the house? The house always won. Not sometimes, not usually. Always. The only winning move was not to play. Marcus would learn that, or he wouldn't. Either way, the wheel would keep spinning, the cards would keep falling, and I'd keep dealing them to whoever sat down. Hoping they were smarter than I'd been. Knowing they weren't. My phone rang during Sunday dinner at Rachel's. Marcus Chin's number, saved from when he'd called about a lost wallet months ago. I stepped onto the porch to answer. Tyler, I need help. His voice sounded hollow, far away. I'm at Prairie Wind's parking lot. They won't let me in. Marcus, I can't. Please. I just need someone to talk to. Rachel watched through the window. I held up one finger. Be right back. There's a meeting at 7 p.m., I said. Community Center on Marshall Street. I'll meet you there. I don't need meetings. I need to get back inside. Just one more session. That's all I can offer. Silence. Then, fine. Whatever. Back inside. Connor asked who called. Work stuff. I lied. Rachel's jaw tightened, but she didn't push at AT 645. I found Marcus in the community center parking lot, sitting in his Toyota. Same scratch ticket dust on the dashboard. Same desperate energy. This is stupid, he said, following me inside. Yeah, most important things are. The meeting was small, Sunday nights always were. Frank nodded when we entered, pointed to empty chairs. Marcus sat like he might bolt any second. When it came time to share, Marcus passed. But he listened, really listened, to the teacher who lost her pension, the contractor who bet away his business, the grandmother who pawned her wedding ring. After, he stood by his car. They're all losers. So are we. He drove away without committing to anything. But he'd shown up. Sometimes that's enough to start. Did you hear about Marcus? Vanessa caught me during Tuesday break, voice low. Tried to rob a convenience store yesterday. My coffee went cold. What? The gas and go on Vine. Walked in with a knife, demanding scratch-offs. She shook her head. Clerk talked him down. Cops took him in for psych eval. I thought about Sunday's meeting. How he'd sat in back, arms crossed, judging everyone. The desperation must have hit harder after seeing others recover. 52-hour hold, Vanessa continued. Then who knows? Shannon, the pit boss, walked past, paused. Shame about Chun. Good player once. Tipped well. As if that measured a man's worth. The shift dragged. Every spin of every wheel felt heavier. I dealt to tourists celebrating anniversaries, businessmen pretending expense accounts covered gambling, regulars slowly unraveling like Marcus had. Mrs. Patterson noticed my mood. You all right, honey? Just thinking about a friend. The one who used to play roulette. With the notebook? She arranged her chips carefully. I wondered what happened to him. Everyone noticed. Everyone watched the falls. Nobody intervened. That night, I called the hospital. Patient confidentiality meant they couldn't confirm Marcus was there. But the nurse's voice softened when I said I was a friend from GA. Visiting hours are noon to 8, she said. Third floor. I didn't promise to go, but I wrote down the information, tucked it in my wallet next to my chip. 18 months clean. Some days that felt like everything. Some days it felt like nothing at all. The psychiatric ward smelled like disinfectant and despair. I signed in at noon Wednesday, my day off. Marcus's name was on the board. Room 327. He looked smaller in a hospital gown. The scratched ticket dust was gone, replaced by the pale nothing of fluorescent lights. Come to gloat. His voice was hoarse. Come to visit. I sat in the plastic chair. How you doing? Fantastic. They have great jello here. He stared at the ceiling. Jennifer knows. Called her from intake. She said she's not surprised. That's rough. Know what's rougher? Sophia knows too. My 18-year-old daughter knows her father tried to rob a store for scratch-offs. His voice cracked. She won't take my calls. We sat with that. Down the hall, someone was arguing about medication. The TV played a game show nobody watched. I hit bottom, Marcus said finally. That's what you people call it, right? Bottom. Only you can decide that. Don't give me program talk. But there was no heat in it. I scared that clerk. Kid maybe 20 years old. Could see myself in the security mirror, waving a kitchen knife, demanding Powerball tickets. Who does that? Someone's sick. Is that what I am? Sick? What do you think? He finally looked at me. Really looked. Yeah, I think I'm sick. That's where recovery starts. Not with hope or determination. Just with admission. I gave him the meeting schedule, my phone number, Frank's number. One day at a time, I said at the door. 1 hour, he corrected. That's all I got right now. It was enough. Marcus showed up to Thursday night's meeting. Showered, shaved, wearing the same wrinkled polo but cleaner somehow. He sat next to me, hands shaking slightly. I'm Marcus, he said when his turn came. I'm a compulsive gambler. The words hung there. First time he'd said them. Hi, Marcus, we responded. I don't know what I'm doing here. He gripped the chair. 3 months ago, I had everything. House, car, family. Now I'm in a studio that smells like cat piss, working at a call center, buying scratchers with my lunch money. Nobody interrupted. This was his time. I had systems. Notebooks full of patterns. I was going to beat the house. He laughed bitterly. House beat me instead. Beat me bloody. Frank nodded encouragement. Others leaned in. We all remembered our first admission. My daughter won't talk to me. My wife filed for divorce. I tried to rob a store. His voice dropped. For scratch-offs. Not even cash. Just the chance to scratch. The room held him with silence. The good kind. The kind that says, we know, we've been there, you're not alone. I want to stop, he finished. I don't know how, but I want to stop. After the meeting, people approached. Phone numbers, encouragement, their own day counts. Marcus looked overwhelmed, but took every number. Feels like a cult, he told me outside. Yeah, but it works if you work it. Does it get easier? Different. Not easier, but different. He drove away in his Toyota. No BMW, no status symbols. Just a man trying to make it to tomorrow without placing a bet. Some days, that's the biggest gamble of all. Marcus made it 23 days. I knew he'd slipped before he told me. The shame was written in his posture at Tuesday's meeting. Bought a scratch-off, he admitted during his share. Just one. Gas station had a new game. Told myself I was just curious about the odds. The room stayed quiet. No judgment. We'd all been there. Lost $5. Bought another. Then another. He stared at his hands. $50 later, I threw them all away without scratching the last few. Progress. Progress, Frank confirmed. You stopped. You came here. That's progress. After the meeting, we stood in the parking lot. Summer heat made the asphalt soft under our feet. I'm such a fuck up, Marcus said. You're an addict. Relapse happens. You haven't relapsed. Not today. I touched my chip. But I work at a casino. Every shift is a relapse waiting to happen. He looked at me sharply. Why do you stay there? Good question. The money? The penance? The daily reminder of what I could become again. Honestly, I don't know anymore. We leaned against our cars, watching traffic pass. Normal people living normal lives. Or maybe not. Maybe everyone was fighting something. 23 days was good. I said, try for 24. What if I can't? Then try for 1. Or 1 hour. Or 1 minute. I remembered my sponsor's words. Sometimes you just breathe through it. Just don't bet while you're breathing. He reset his counter that night. Day 0 again. But he kept coming back, and that meant everything. Marcus brought a letter to Thursday's meeting. Unopened, Jennifer's handwriting on the envelope. He'd been carrying it for 3 days. Can't read it, he told me. But can't throw it away either. 51 days clean this time. The longest stretch yet. He'd moved to a better apartment, started eating regular meals, even bought new clothes. But the letter sat between us like a live wire. Want me to hold it? I offered. No. Maybe. I don't know. He turned the envelope over. What if she wants me back? What if she doesn't? Yeah. He pocketed the letter. That's the thing. During the meeting, he shared about the letter. About hope being dangerous when you're trying to accept consequences. About wanting to make amends, but knowing some damage can't be undone. My sponsor says wait, he told the group. Until I have more time. Until I'm ready either way. Old-timer Patricia nodded. Smart sponsor. I tried to fix my marriage at 30 days clean. Made it worse. Some things need time to scar over before you can touch them. After the meeting, Marcus finally opened the letter in his car. I waited, ready either way. He read it twice, then handed it to me. Short. Direct. Jennifer was selling the house. Needed his signature on papers. Hoped he was getting help. Nothing about reconciliation. Nothing about hate either. Just business. It's something, he said quietly. Yeah, it's something. He signed the papers that weekend. Another piece of the old life officially gone. But he didn't buy a scratch-off after. That was something too. Maybe something bigger. Marcus got his 6-month chip on a cold January night. Same room, same bad coffee, same circle of people who'd watched him crawl back from the edge. I'm Marcus, compulsive gambler. No hesitation now. 6 months clean today. Applause filled the room. Real applause for a real accomplishment. He held the chip like it might disappear. Still have dreams about the wheel, he admitted. Wake up sure I've figured out the pattern. Takes a minute to remember patterns don't exist. Nods around the room. We all had those dreams. But I also dream about Sophia now. She answered my call last week. We talked for 10 minutes. About school, about her boyfriend, about nothing important. Most beautiful 10 minutes of my life. His sponsor Jake presented the chip. Marcus had picked Jake over Frank. Needed someone who'd lost a family too, who understood that specific grief. 6 months is forever and nothing, Jake said. You earned this. Keep earning it. After the meeting, core group went to the diner. Marcus ordered pie, laughed at Frank's war stories from early sobriety. He looked alive. Not happy exactly, but present. Tyler's hiring at the construction company, Frank mentioned. If you're interested. I'd finally left the casino. Couldn't watch anymore. Couldn't pretend dealing wasn't using by proxy. Now I framed houses. Came home tired in a good way. Maybe, Marcus said. Call centers killing me slowly. Beats the fast death. Someone joked, we laughed. Dark humor, but earned. Marcus fingered his chip, already worn from handling. 6 months of choosing differently. 6 months of proving the house didn't always have to win. Year and a half later. I saw Marcus at the gas and go. Different man entirely, healthy weight, clean clothes, buying actual gas instead of scratchers. Tyler, he seemed genuinely happy. How's construction? Good. Framing supervisor now. I'd worked my way up, stayed clean, even started dating someone from the program. You? Accounting again. Small firm, but they know my history. He pumped gas into a decent Honda. Sophia's graduating next month. Pre-med. She talking to you? Yeah. Not like before, but yeah. He smiled. I'm going to the ceremony. Jennifer said it's okay. We stood in the spring evening, 2 men who'd crawled out of the same hole. Behind us, someone bought scratchers. Always someone buying scratchers. Ever think about it? He asked. The casino? Sometimes. You. Had a dream last week. Hit progressive jackpot on roulette. Woke up disappointed it wasn't real. He shrugged. But then I made coffee, went to work, called my sponsor. Boring stuff. Good stuff. The best stuff. He finished pumping, replaced the nozzle. Thanks. For that night in the hospital. For making me go to meetings. You made yourself go. Eventually, yeah. But you showed me the door. We shook hands. Firm grips from men who'd learned to hold on. He drove away, to his apartment, his life, his own recovery. I went inside for coffee. The scratch-off display gleamed under fluorescence, whispering promises to someone else now. Outside, I touched my chip. 3 years. Marcus had his 18 months. Numbers that meant everything and nothing. Just days stacked on days, choices on choices, until you looked up and realized you'd built a life worth living. The house always wins, but only if you play. We'd learned that the hard way. Some people never learn it at all. But for today, just today, we weren't playing. And that was enough.